A fire outbreak at the Mvokbi market in Yaoundé Centre region of the country has reduced dozens of shops into ashes. The incident, which occurred early today, the reason or the causes of the incident which occurred this morning is yet to be established. And also in this newscast, the Bishop Jean Banga, appointed to head the Yaoundé Arch-Diocese, until a new Archbishop is announced, but that does not stop His Lordship Tony Abakot from exercising his duties. Those are the views of some Catholic officials that we shall be getting in the course of this newscast. These are headlines, details, and more just in a moment. Good evening to you viewers. Welcome to join us in this edition of the 6 p.m. newscast on Equinox Television. We begin in Yaoundé Centre region. Scores of shops have been reduced into ashes at the Mvokbi market, like we announced in the headlines, in that part of Cameroon following a fire outbreak. The cause of the incident remains a mystery. Our Yaoundé-based correspondent Roland AKONG tells us more in the following report.
In an inconsolable state, the incident leaves the affected victims. Their investments of many years, all consumed by flames.
Bring Abigail some kako yesterday. I just broke from my magazine for inside the. I don't come today for monitor. I want to take this kako. They tell me say all players they don't burn. That means now so I know nothing what we do.
And these are the time when they are preparing to send their children back to school. The items we found in the debris after the fire speak of the nature of businesses which were carried in the boutiques consumed by the flames. Tailoring workshops, fashion shops, bars and restaurants. The exact cause of the fire is not yet known, but it is widely believed that it sparked from a nearby restaurant.
No, I hear that saying a fire don't catch for night. So we don't know what will be happen.
What do you hear about what happened?
So if he hear say, if he be say, whether na people they cook or na how or na calling, nothing know.
Eyewitnesses say it all started at 10 p.m.
C'était vers 22h30.
Fire soldiers stopped the flames from spreading to other shops. It is the second time in less than 2 years that the Mvokbi market is in flames.
Another remarkable observation was the state of the Mvokbi market, which is very, very deplorable. Traders have occupied even pavements meant for buyers, rendering circulation within the market practically difficult. Roland AKONG once again tells us more.
Deplorable is the state of the Yaoundé Mvokbi market, to the annoyance of both traders and customers.
Vraiment, c'est vraiment déplorable parce qu'on ne sait même pas si on nous a oubliés ici en Mvokbi.
The council is blamed for the total neglect of the market, a neglect which puts to question the use of market taxes collected from traders by the council. Roadside vendors and hawkers are running away from high cost of market boutiques and taxis inside the market to occupy sidewalks, creating disorder on the road.
I don't get money for recontract, they never pay. But when I will go for recontract, they will ask me 5 months, 1 year. Was I take that money for pay 1 year? We 1 month at 20,000. We agree capital for 10,000. Was I take?
No, I just come up for inside market now for find small dough for chop bad day ground. I don't feel like you. Now the point that you understand.
Mais les sauveteurs ne supportent pas qu'ils viennent à l'intérieur du marché.
The reality is same in many other Yaoundé markets. A big challenge to Yaoundé councils and forces of law and order.
And here in the economic capital Douala, a newborn baby girl retrieved from a pit toilet last night at the Bipanda neighborhood in the Douala 5 area has finally died. Reports say cries from the abandoned baby were heard after a resident in the area visited the toilet. He alerted other local inhabitants who informed security forces about the situation. The baby was taken to a nearby clinic for medical attention where she later died early today. And today, the global community celebrates Friendship Day, instituted by the United Nations in 2011 to create awareness on the importance and the role of a friend. Another opportunity, or it was an opportunity for our reporters to sample the views of some Cameroonians on who is actually a friend. Some Douala residents are of the opinion that friends are those with whom we can share our troubles as well as happy moments. And let's listen to some of the Douala residents. They spoke to student journalist on internship, Audrey Mekonchu.
People who are my friends are those with whom I share most of my personal, call them personal things like professional tips, and then professional memories, and also life memories. Those are my friends.
Friendship, as far as I'm concerned, is the act of regarding I can call you your counterpart, just like you. It means that to have the same love you have with your own kids, your own parents, with somebody who is not part of your family.
That is actually how friends are to some of those Douala residents who spoke to student journalist on internship Audrey Mekonchu. That was today in the city of Douala. Meantime, some media practitioners still here in the economic capital have frowned at some journalists who are said to be paying very little attention on happenings in the political scene in the country. They were speaking today in the economic capital Douala in a meeting aimed at schooling journalists on the coverage of the municipal and the legislative elections built for the 30th of September 2013. Journalists were also told to give room to every politician, especially those to take part in the upcoming twin elections in the country. We shall be coming back to that in our subsequent newscast. Meantime, the holding of the investiture in the CPDM political party, that is the ruling CPDM, for the upcoming elections continues to tear party militants apart. Political analysts, in their attempts to examine the rising phenomenon, have questioned what the future holds for the party just after the twin elections. Yaoundé-based correspondent Roland AKONG spoke to some of the political analysts and compiled the following report.
Pre-electoral discontent may deal a severe blow to the CPDM party, especially in some areas where the top of the party imposed candidates through investitures for the upcoming twin local elections.
In the local area, it is important to know that there was something who will change because of the frustration of some person who have a political base in local area, and I think that after those elections, all things will not be as before the going on of this campaign.
Political observers say opposition parties should have taken advantage of this disorder in the governing CPDM party and tear down the hegemony of the party on the political landscape. But our analysts say they are not serious.
The alternative political offer against the RDPC within opposition is not very serious, and they don't make a very important and serious work to capitalize this disorder caused by the investiture within CPDM.
At the Yaoundé Sports Complex, electoral board members of Elections Cameroon are validating the works of 4 commissions which since July 19 worked on the nomination papers of candidates for the twin elections. ELECAM proclaims the list of the candidates and political parties retained for the twin local elections Thursday, August 1.
Roland AKONG there reporting from Yaoundé Central region of the country. Meantime, stakeholders in the health sector in Cameroon who have been converging in that part of the country have revealed that over 400 million people around the world are suffering from hepatitis. They recommended that Cameroonians should go themselves or should get themselves screened, vaccinated, and also treated against the virus. The public health minister pledged, that was during a press conference he granted journalists. Yesterday in Yaoundé city, central region of the country, pledged to assist patients suffering from hepatitis by reducing the cost of treatment by 35%. Let's now get the view of Cameroon's Minister of Public Health, FOUDA. He spoke to Yaoundé-based correspondent Roland AKONG.
Speaking of Cameroon in particular, 13% of the population suffers from hepatitis C and 10% from hepatitis B, giving a total of 4,500,000 persons. The ignorance of the population, exposure to practices and risky behaviors expose more and more people every day to these diseases. In view of this alarming situation, the Cameroonian government has noted the gravity of viral hepatitis as a public health problem in our country and the need to sensitize all actors to ensure that effective measures are taken to prevent this infection.
A new Archbishop to head the Yaoundé Diocese might be known in 3 months. That is, of course, the view of some, or the views of some Catholic officials that spoke to our reporters in the economic capital Douala today. They say His Lordship Victor Tonye-Bakode can still perform priestly responsibilities or duties. For Hansin Chanji tells us more in the following report.
Catholic Church officials have revealed that Archbishop Emeritus Victor Tonye-Bakode is still a priest within the Catholic Church. His stepping down as Archbishop of Yaoundé Diocese has brought heated debate whether he remains a priest or he is out of the Catholic Church. There is therefore a question of resignation or renunciation.
I don't know why they should be playing on words. When I say I'm resigning from my functions as an Archbishop, they should not play with words, because when I'm resigning from being an Archbishop, it means that I am giving a place to my brother. When you say renunciation, that is something else, because I'm renouncing. When you renounce something, it means you are not part of it. But he is going to continue to collaborate with the person who will come to continue.
What therefore happens to the Metropolitan Diocese of Yaoundé in the absence of Bakode?
After every resignation of any bishop or any pastor, the church does not waste time. The church continues. It is Christ's church, and everything continues, and even maybe better.
Men of God see Archbishop Emeritus Tonye-Bakode's resignation as an example of a God-fearing man.
I'm happy that, to be sincere, that he can sincerely say, no, I am incapable. That is the truth about men of God, true men of God, who will say, I am unable to continue. And we are all handicapped, and that is why we should not stay there, because we are afraid of losing power.
Catholic Church officials say the new Archbishop of Yaoundé Diocese may be known in 3 months' time, but that Rome has the knife and the yam. The Pope needs to choose from a list comprising at least 3 persons.
Meantime, 66-year-old Emeritus Tonye-Bakode has held varied posts in the Catholic denomination. He spent 10 years as an Archbishop of the Yaoundé Metropolitan Diocese. For Hansin Chanji, once again in the following report, traces his pastoral life.
Born in 1949 in Makomol, Eseka, he did his primary education in Bout-Makak, where he obtained his CP in 1960. He obtained his BAPC in 1964 in the minor seminary in Bonne-Poupa. After a brief passage at major seminary in Otele, he attended then Colbison Seminary in 1969, and after an internship at the minor seminary in Bonne-Poupa in 1970, he obtained a baccalaureate in theology in 1972. On July 15, 1973, he is ordained as priest in Eseka. He has occupied different positions in the Catholic Church in the country: one-time chaplain of the Police and Armed Forces, director of liturgy and catechism in the Diocese of Douala, responsible for the formation of permanent deacons. He also has a knowledge in journalism and Mass Communication Technologies with a degree in 1980, a professor of philosophy, theology and Greek, Archbishop Emeritus Victor Tonye Bakot was installed as Bishop of the Diocese of Edea in 1993, and on October 18, 2003, he was appointed Archbishop of Yaoundé by former Pope John Paul II. In 2009, he is appointed Grand Chancellor of the Catholic University of Central Africa. He came under spyglass recently in 2012 when he was criticized of fueling tribalism in the same university.
That religious package brings us to the end of this segment of the news. Up next is Talking Point. Thank you once again, viewers, for joining us tonight on Talking Point. Yesterday, Bishop Victor Tonye Bakot resigned or renounced his position as the Archbishop of the Yaoundé Metropolitan Diocese, and it has triggered so far multiple reactions from Catholic officials as well. An opportunity for us to get a catechist to come and clarify us on what is actually happened or what might have prompted his reason or his resignation. Good evening to you, Mr. Abotem Jean-Claude, and thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Good evening, and thank you for bringing me into your studios once more.
I should be thanking you for coming. Let's get, first of all, your immediate reaction on His Lordship Victor Tonye Bakot's resignation.
Well, as a person, I was surprised when I got the information directly from the Holy See, an official communique stipulating that the Holy See has accepted his resignation. You know, it's normal. The first thing is you ask yourself why and why and why. But after some time, you understand that it's better for him to resign.
If it's better, then why were you surprised?
Well, I'm surprised because, you know, there are certain things that are not common. And so when they happen, you must be surprised. They are not things that you expect them to happen on a day-to-day basis. For example, you know that in the Catholic Church, the bishop must attain at least 75 years before we talk of resignation. But there are still conditions which are not common that grant such resignations before he reaches 75 years.
If we may know, what are some of these conditions that might prompt somebody to issue an untimely, as we may call it, resignation?
Well, according to the canon of the church, which is the law governing the Catholic Church, canon 402, it clearly stipulates that a diocesan bishop who, for illness or other grave reasons, feels unsuit for his ministry, he can resign. So it is true that these are things that we don't talk about them on a day-to-day basis, but they are there. And I think what His Lordship, His Grace Victor Tonye Bakot has done is an act of honesty, telling yourself you cannot continue, you cannot do it, and you give space, just like the priest in your report was talking.
Termed him as God-fearing and...
Well, that is the best thing to do. You cannot continue because of maybe illness or other reasons.
The reasons are not actually, the reasons of up to now are not yet known.
No, they will never be known.
Why would they never be known?
You see, the vocation of priesthood in the Catholic Church is a personal matter. It is you and your God. It is just like if I enter into the confessionate for confession, I will not come out and tell you, Mimi, I went and confessed the sin of adultery, or I went and confessed the sin of theft. No, it is personal between you and your God. And according to the Catholic prescriptions, you don't discuss it with anybody. You don't ask anybody's opinion. Because when you go into priesthood, you don't ask anybody's opinion. You consult with your God through the direction of the Holy Spirit. And when you think you can no more continue, it is still you and your God talking to each other. And so we will never know the reasons because it is personal to him and God.
So anything that anybody says might just be speculations. He himself knows why he has resigned.
Well, people always say things. We are living in a very secular environment where when something happens like this, there are speculations, there are people saying one thing or the other. But to be very sincere with you, the reasons for his resignations is best known to him and his God.
So now, just immediately after his resignation, that was yesterday, his Lordship, Jean Banga, was immediately appointed to head the Archbishop in Yaoundé Arch-Diocese, the Yaoundé Arch-Diocese, until a new Archbishop is announced to replace him. Is it that it was prepared beforehand?
No, there is a procedure for resignations in the Catholic Church. It is not a political issue. In the Church, all bishops pay allegiance to their Pope, to the Pope. So, probably, he must have sought the face of the Holy See, maybe through writing. And then, the Holy See must have taken some time to study it. Decision, you know, the fact that he resigned, the decision was declared yesterday doesn't mean it is yesterday that the Holy See became aware of his intention. You understand? The Holy See would actually take some time, study his intention, maybe pray over it, and even ask himself to pray over it. And then, when it is obvious that this decision is purely God design, then the Holy See will take an immediate action, because the seat of the Archdiocese of Yaoundé cannot be vacant, taking into consideration that this is an Archdiocese. The Pope will automatically, in acceptance of his resignation, assign somebody to assume the duty of the Archbishop of Yaoundé.
So now you talked about the Holy See having taken some time to look into his reasons or what might have prompted him to resign before giving the go-ahead. An indication that it might still say yes and no. Could that ever happen? Could that ever happen?
Yes. You see, in the Church, there are things, there are steps when issues like this are concerned. You understand? It is not a political affair where you just come up and say, I want to resign, and it is accepted. No. First of all, the Church has a primary responsibility to assist its leaders. And His Grace Victor Tonyebakot is one of the leaders. So if he comes up and says, I want to resign, it is not a thunder affair for the Holy See. There are procedures that the Holy See will take to observe. Decisions are not taken like that. And at times, the Pope also, through the direction of the Holy Spirit and prayers, will reach a decision that will be for the best interest of the Church.
So the decision is for the best interest of the Church?
Yeah,
now,
it is for the best interest of the Church.
Now we have the Bishop Jean Banga heading the Yaoundé Archdiocese temporarily.
As the Apostolic Administrator.
Yes, as the Apostolic Administrator, like you earlier said. Yeah. And what happens from now? We heard from the report there by Florence in Chanji, telling us, some Catholic officials here in the economic capital, Douala, telling us how it would take about 3 months for the new Archbishop to be known or appointed.
Yeah, it is possible. And I think they are saying all that out of experience. But I will tell you that it is at the best judgment of the Pope. You understand? For now, from yesterday, the seat of the Bishop of Yaoundé is not empty because Monsignor Mbaga is now assuming that responsibility.
He's still heading the...
Yeah, it's just like, for example, if something happens to you now, Mimi, let's say you were to present news in the evening, they will not stop news. Somebody will probably sit for you. You understand? So that is what Monsignor Baga is doing. He is now sitting for the Archbishop.
So what is the procedure
of
what's the procedure? Is there a particular procedure of getting a new Archbishop? Or?
Yeah, it is an appointment which is done by the Pope and the Pope alone. So it is at his best judgment. If he thinks that he needs to appoint a new Archbishop for Yaoundé Archdiocese tomorrow, he will do that. And I think he will do that thanks to the direction of the Holy Spirit.
Thanks to the direction of the Holy Spirit. Thank you so much, Mr. Abotem Jean-Claude, for joining us tonight on Talking Point, and we hope to have you some other time again.
Thanks, it's a pleasure.
To our viewers, we thank you so much for having joined us in this edition of the 6 p.m. newscast on Equinox Television. We wish you a wonderful stay and a blessed one, of course, in the company of our programs. Good evening to you once again.